Welcome everybody to our first social recruiting live session. So for today, what we're going to be going over, the power of leveraging employee social networks, what content you should be posting to attract top talent, and then of course, how to get started on your brand ambassador program. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Stacy. I'm going to go off camera till the end and see you all then.
Thanks, Christina. So really I like to start from the top with how does an organic social strategy kind of fit into maybe what you're already doing. We get a lot of folks that say, hey, I've already got a paid social strategy, that's enough for me. I don't think I need to add organic. And we really like to kind of tie both of those processes together to help increase that candidate pipeline, get more people top of funnel to kind of work their way down. So this is a nice little visual of kind of how those things work together. Specifically with employer brand, we're looking to reach those passive candidates and let them know about who you are as an employer. It's an always on cost-effective strategy. So even if you don't specifically have a ton of jobs that you're posting and a lot of content like that, you can still lean back on some of this employer brand content to, again, kind of reach those passive candidates and keep them interested in all the fun things that you've got going on. Natalie, do you want to take it away on the next slide?
Sure do. Thank you. So we're going to transition into next a little bit about the power of leveraging your employee social networks. But before we do that, it's really important to get clarity on what is a brand or corporate profile versus what is a personal profile. So throughout this presentation today, you'll often hear me refer to things as brand pages, corporate pages, company pages. I'll kind of use those terms synonymously, but then when I'm referring to a personal profile, that's primarily what we are talking about today. A brand ambassador, employee advocacy, leveraging employee networks is all about their personal LinkedIn profile. So it's the profile you pull up on your phone and you can log right into. You have the email and password to your personal LinkedIn page. So when it comes to CareerArc, whether you're hearing about us for the first time or you're an existing partner of ours, you will connect a personal profile and automate job content to the personal profile. So I think it's really helpful in the very beginning to just get super clear on the difference so that you understand what we're talking about the rest of today anyway, on the big differences there. We want to automate content to your employee networks so that you can reach beyond those corporate brand pages. Sometimes you might not even have access to those. So a brand page, a corporate company profile, that page that maybe consumers will look at for, let's say, a retail company. Maybe I'm interested in this brand, so I follow the page. The marketing initiatives on those pages or the types of social media content that they're usually posting, those are really going to drive business. It's more consumer facing than driving candidate flow. So your audiences are two different groups of people. And I think it's kind of a really new thing right now is how do these two teams share the social media space, because you both need it, but you're talking to different people. So moving along to the next slide, I think our handy tech person is in the background clicking it over for me since mine, there we go. I'm gonna go back one. If you can help me out. I think I went too fast. Thanks for your patience. So, okay, so we wanted to do a poll today. Before we get started and before we tell you too much, we would love to know which post would you click on, A or B? So we're going to pop up a poll and you'll be able to click on A or B. After you do that, it's going to be submitted and then we'll go ahead and share those results. So I do see the poll is up on my screen. So if you don't see it, feel free to throw something in the chat. But go ahead and answer that poll on which one of these posts would you click on the left or the right?
Yes, we're looking pretty good here, Natalie. We have about probably 80% of people voted already.
You are on top of it. It's because if you're all in the talent acquisition space, you're good at following instructions. You're the dream people to teach.
We'll give it a few more seconds here. We have some trickling in.
I'm excited. I have an idea of where this is going.
All right. Oh, still some trickling in. We're almost at 100%.
Yay.
All righty. We're seemingly slowing down. So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and share the results.
Yay. Thanks, Christina. We can see the results. So that was too easy for you all. You're already all getting an A in today's session. So 100%, 21 out of 21 people, you said you would click on post A. And we're of course going to drill into why that is. So it's already really important that you recognize that it looks better, or this would stop the scroll if you were on social media. And we're going to dive into why that is and some best practices on how you can adopt this into your program as well. So I'm going to hand it over to Stacy for a little bit.
Thanks, Natalie. Can we go to the next slide, please?
No worries. I got it on the back here.
No worries.
There we go.
Awesome. So as Natalie mentioned, we do have company and corporate pages that you typically post on, and then we've got those personal pages. So we do get asked a lot, if I'm already posting on my corporate pages and I'm already getting my message out that way, why do I need brand ambassadors? Well, really, it's, do you want more job clicks and more engagement? Then you should have brand ambassadors. It's kind of as simple as that. So we've got a few things noted here. Content that you post from your employees does get about 8 times more engagement and is 24% more likely to be shared. So not only are you helping to reach passive candidates in your networks, your brand ambassadors networks, but they're then sharing those to however many hundreds of thousands of millions, hopefully, of eyes to get more of those eyeballs on your post, to hopefully get them clicking through and applying for jobs with you. And with our customers, we have found that connecting just 5 LinkedIn profiles of those ambassadors gets you 54% more job clicks on average. And then we've also got that if you connect 10 or more, that's 2 times as many job clicks. And then 15 or more generates at least 3 times. So again, you can kind of add as many as you want and see those results just go on the up and up. Like I said, we'll share that data with you when we get you all connected. And then to Natalie's point, kind of at the beginning, we like helping people, and we know that people trust people. So we're really trying to dive into getting more of those people on board so that they have a trusty hand in kind of helping passive candidates get through your funnel as well. And then we do have just a few results that we like to share from some of our clients, both large and small. So for some of our smaller healthcare companies, you know, they've only have 2 recruiter profiles connected for their brand ambassadors, and they're seeing an additional 120 clicks per year. Again, you know, even just 2 can move that needle. Some of our larger clients are seeing things like 200 recruiter profiles connected and 72,000 additional clicks per year. So as you can see, it doesn't take a lot to move that needle. We can do things if you've got a ton of folks that are really excited and want to get on board, we can certainly support that. But it could just be you and a few folks in your TA and HR teams to get, you know, potentially 600 more job clicks per year. So really exciting, like I said, that you can move that needle without having to do too much additional heavy lifting.
I always say that it's 600 more clicks than you had before. It's 120 clicks that you had before, and that's direct traffic to your ATS. They see the posts on LinkedIn, they click on it, and they're on that job details page of your open role. So it could change, you know, it's never apples to apples. It's going to vary per company, but it's going to be more than you had before you were doing nothing, right? So why not take advantage?
Exactly. We need more eyeballs all the time.
More eyeballs, please. All right, well, next we're going to go into what content you should be posting to really attract the ideal candidates that you are looking for. Per usual, before I share best practices with you, let's take a look at what our posts look like and what goes into creating this lovely post you see here. So all of our posts through our tool, this is how the automation works. So hopefully you have the light bulb moment here. I'm very visual, so I like to see the anatomy of the post. But we ask for all of our partners, all of our customers, to provide their own captions and their own images to our dashboard. And then the system is smart enough to grab a different caption, different hashtags as well, and a different image that's different every time so that you have a variety of different posts going out so that Lindsay and Jesse don't have the same picture and the same caption going out on Mondays at 9 a.m. We want both of those posts for everyone on your team to look different. So we put in all the assets, and then it's going to create the magic post that's different every time. And third, that what you see at the bottom is always we have an automated link that gets added from our special job campaigns to every post. So not only do you have it sound good, look good, but we're going to drive traffic directly to your job. If we clicked on this post, I'm going to be able to read all about this CDL truck driver on Quality Carrier's career site. So now that you know the anatomy of the post, there's so much strategy that goes behind this. That's what Stacy and I are here for. There are a lot of things that vary per social platform, per industry, per team. What are your marketing guidelines? We ask a ton of discovery questions when we help get you started. If you're doing this on your own, some best practices to follow are being as genuine and authentic and true to your employer brand and your EVP as possible. So as many of you probably already know, what's the give and the get? That should be in your caption. So what's that candidate going to expect when they work from you? Do they see themselves in the photos that you're sharing? If you're using a bunch of stock imagery, it's not always as engaging. Recently, I learned that if you use the words apply or hiring on LinkedIn in a caption, the results that you receive are tremendous as far as few clicks. So using those words is not recommended. And it's so easy to do when you do an audit of the language you're using. Of course, you're going to say apply and hiring, but we encourage you to say things like join our team, check out this opportunity, interested in joining us, by really making that sound a little more authentic. It makes people not feel like a number, just like apply, hiring, we're mass hiring, you want to sound a little more authentic to your voice. So come up with what your call to actions are going to be, and that would be a really good start. It doesn't have to be the same all the time. You can use a variety of these. Join our team, click to learn more is fine. We have multiple opportunities available. Click to read more. And if you have it in there, it's not the end of the world, but you can try to switch it up, get creative. Stacy and I can also help with this when you get to that part of the strategy. When it comes to hashtags, I think the biggest mistake that I see is you're either using too many hashtags or you're using your hashtags in the wrong way. So some really easy wins that you could do today, even if you're manually posting because you're waiting to sign that contract with us to help you, you can do things like hashtag remote work, work from home, things that your candidates are going to search for. So whenever candidates come to me with their hashtag ideas, I always joke, we're not going to do like hashtag Chrissy Teigen or hashtag submarine missing on our job postings. Even though it's really popular, it has nothing to do with the candidates that you're looking for. So new opportunity, remote work. And then when it comes to job titles and job types, it's so easy to be like hashtag IT, hashtag marketing. But what we would recommend is more job title specific. There are so many marketing roles, right? So what is it? Hashtag graphic design. So do hashtag graphic designer. If I'm on social as a CSM, I'm going to search for remote client success jobs. So if there are hashtags that say remote or hashtag CSM, hashtag client success, hopefully you see where I'm going with this. Nurse jobs, we could drill in even further. Most nurses would probably look up nurse jobs, but maybe they look up RN jobs, CNA, LPN, ICU, what's your specialty? So think about your hashtags as like job title, jobs. That will always be a good one. And then lastly, because I could go on about hashtags forever, location. So cities are pretty good. If you have jobs in Austin, Texas, maybe hashtag Austin jobs, Austin careers. You could switch it up. If your city has a weird name that could be confused maybe for a name or something else that's popular, maybe you do careers in and you make it obvious that's a city. That's another opportunity. So you can get really strategic with your copy, those captions that go out with your post and your hashtags. And then to tie that all back into CareerArc, you're going to pretty much take all of these ideas and put them in our dashboard so it can automatically create a post for you. So we get all those good ideas in there and then let your post be automated and you can focus on what your job is, which is, interviewing those candidates and nurturing those relationships. We can go on to the next. Okay, so continued. You can tell by the way I have so much to say that I'm very passionate about this topic, but content best practices. So I told you quite a bit already on our last slide, but it goes beyond just what it says and what hashtags you use. There's so many different directions you can take with your imagery or your video. So just like in our poll, a photo in your post is going to generate 2 times more clicks than if you were posting it without. So I can't tell you how many people are just sharing the job from LinkedIn on there. That's great, but we want a strong caption and we want a strong photo to stop the scroll and drive traffic back to your openings. That's really what we're doing with this organic strategy in the feed of social media. So some quick tips for you. We have found in some A/B testing that graphics, company colors, and logos in your images, those are going to always perform better than stock imagery. I don't want to see any more of those healthcare stock images. I mean, if those people in those models are making money off of every time that post, they're going to be rich. So good for them. I don't want to see them anymore. You don't always have to go out and be a photographer and source your own images. You can see GTE. This was probably made in Canva. It has their logo on it, some great values that represent their organization, and that's a free tool that your team can use. We also have a content studio in our tool that you can log in and edit your images on, add text to them. So there's a lot of opportunity there to brand your own imagery. It doesn't have to be all stock imagery. Next, post with video. If you didn't know, surprise, video will always have the highest engagement. And of course, we want that to be really short. We do not have an attention span. So 30 seconds or less. When we say native video content, that's when you're scrolling LinkedIn and that video starts playing already. You're not clicking on it and going to watch it on YouTube. We are busy, we're lazy, we don't have an attention span, and we are scrolling fast. So we just want your video to start playing, and I want to get the gist of it pretty quickly. So that's recommended with video content. You can work with your team to create a few short videos, and that can be used for many months in so many different ways. So if you can invest in any type of video, you can even grab snippets from a video and use that on multiple pieces of content. Again, we can get really into the weeds on strategy together if you work with a CSM. And then lastly, kind of what we've been talking about earlier is incorporating employer brand content. So it doesn't always have to be we're hiring, or job post. In a dream world for me, when I scroll through somebody's LinkedIn feed, the yummiest feed is going to be job, employer brand, job, a nice healthy mix. So I want to see your community involvement. I want to see the awards. I want to see any team recognition. I want to talk about your culture. I want to read about your culture. So anything that you can add in there will be really powerful. And sometimes you can even add it to your job posting. So yeah, moving on to why you should incorporate your employer brand content. So just like what we were saying, they can't get a total feel for who you are and as an employer and what it'd be like to work for you just from your job posting. It's a great start. It's usually where we start people, is the automated job campaigns. And then we really want you to grow in to adding in employer brand content. So I always say sprinkle some employer brand content in there as well. And we do have the data to back that up. So you'll see this picture here. This is from a pre-health. So they did a 90-day pilot program, and they did one campaign where it was strictly nurse hiring. And then they did another campaign that was all about their culture and DEI. And of course, the second culture, more employer brand focused, helped them to receive 9 times the amount of applicants. So just make sure that you are putting something out there. It's kind of like a touch point along the way. Whether you have tons of likes, comments, shares, reposts, that's not as important as having those pieces of content on your social pages for people to find if and when they're researching you before they choose to apply. So there's a lot of value that can't always be perfectly measured. And that's why we're here today, to share that information with you. So those long-term benefits that you see here on that last bullet is really why you want to incorporate some employer brand content to your strategy as well. All right, so Stacy, she is finally going to get me to stop talking and share with you how to get your brand ambassador program started. She'll have some really helpful tips for you.
I would never ask you to stop talking. Your voice lulls me to sleep always. Yes, so as a solutions consultant, I get to work with a lot of teams on how to really implement their employer brand strategy, especially with their brand ambassadors. So I work with a lot of teams that have, hundreds of brand ambassadors, and those who have 1 or 2, to help them kind of decide how they want to communicate what their plan of action is and how to get more people to sign up. So I put together a few bullet points here on just kind of how to get buy-in and how we've seen this work with some other clients that we work with. So initially, tell people why they want to participate. We've obviously shared a lot of stats here today on kind of the reach that you can get and the increased engagement that you can get. And so obviously that's what we're wanting to work towards. And we can also share what that participation looks like, what's required from them, which is, we'll see on the next slide, pretty minimal in terms of what we need on their end. And then they get this great automated content that goes out and helps them fill these positions. And then lastly, just going over what it looks like to opt in or opt out. So again, if maybe in the future they don't have as many jobs, or they're moving to a different department, we can talk to them about how easy it is to both opt in and opt out from the program, how we can change things up for them and make it really customizable for their needs. And then just incentivizing people to sign up. We know you can't necessarily make it a requirement for everyone at your company to be a brand ambassador, or maybe you can, and that'd be really cool. But if not, you can at least request your talent acquisition team to participate. Again, letting them know what the value is in this, what goal you're trying to achieve, and getting it set up. And then we typically see a lot of hiring managers posting, but this can really be anybody in your company. It doesn't have to just be specifically your talent acquisition and HR teams. It can be anybody across the company who you want to have these posts. So just make sure that you're kind of reaching out to anybody who wants to participate. And again, if you do see those hiring managers posting, and then other folks can kind of get a feel for what that looks like, they might be a little bit more interested in not having to manually do things on their own as well. And then incentivizing your program. So we have a client, Cognizant, that gives out awards for those folks that are sharing job and employer brand content on social media. They like to call them out. As you can see here, they like to say, hey, here is what Lisa did for us. She's a rock star, and then if you're anything like us, we have healthy competition on our side. So if we see one person getting incentivized and called out, we want to get that too. So we always jump on board. And I feel like that healthy competition can always drive a few more people to sign up for this program as well. So on the next slide here is when we'll talk about, like I said, really just what it takes. You can connect unlimited brand ambassador profiles with CareerArc. So let me say that again, unlimited. So if you have, like I said, if you have the power to make your whole company dive into this, and that's 600 people, perfect. It's all included in your contract with us. So don't feel like you have to kind of sift through who might be the best. We can obviously always start with a few folks, but let's get as many people as we can because, again, unlimited. I love that. Really, all you have to do is create those invitations in the CareerArc dashboard, which is a really simple process. Either your client success manager or our support team here at CareerArc can always help you send out those invitations if you have a bulk. Like I said, if you've got 600 folks just banging on your door ready to get started, we can certainly help with getting those invitations sent out for you. We do recommend that you kind of pair that with a customized message or something that the team might be familiar with so they don't think it's a spam thing coming through or something like that. So we can help you kind of put together those templates as well. And then they'll get this email and they'll just click connect profile, log into their LinkedIn or Twitter profile, and that's really it. They're connected, and then we can discuss, their post frequency, what jobs they want to do, kind of go over all of those little itsy bitsy customizations that we can do. From there, everything is just automated. They don't have to touch it. They don't have to log into the system. They don't have to know anything about CareerArc. They can just connect their profile, and we can work with whomever on your team is kind of managing the dashboard to make sure that everything is copacetic with all of their posts. Like I said, we've got lots of clients that have, 5 ambassadors and they change things weekly. We've got clients with 600 ambassadors who change things monthly or bi-monthly. So again, we really got tons of options for really any size team, any size ambassadorship that we want to work with. We've done it all. So we're excited to be able to share all this info with you guys and see how we can make it work for you.
I do have one last thing to add on this note, Stacy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree that internal communication is where this all starts and how the most successful brand ambassador programs we have come from a strong leader on the client side saying, here's what we're doing. They tell their team what to expect. And then we help with the configuration and the strategy piece. But really, we can't tell your team what to do. You can, though, hopefully, if you can. Act nicely. We're happy to help you with that language, but it all starts with that initial internal communication piece. Let them know what they're getting out of this, whether you need us to attend a meeting you're having for 10 minutes and kind of give us a quick speech like this or show them what it looks like, offer that peace of mind that connect your profile, but we won't have access to any private information. We're really good at that, so lean on us, but get a strong internal communication plan in place before you do any of this, and you will be golden.
Yeah, I would say for the clients that we have that have those larger number of brand ambassadors, they've sent something out in, whatever their internal weekly newsletter is or anything like that that says, expect this coming down the pipeline. Here's why we're doing it. If you have any questions, here's where to go, so on and so forth. And then they send that out and let us know that that's been communicated so that we can then send their invitations. And like I said, folks aren't getting confused that this is some kind of spam or phish or something like that, that they that they don't want to click any links. So great point, Natalie.
Totally. Imagine your team gets an email from CareerArc. You know who we are, but they have no idea. They're probably going to ignore it. So
yeah, they're going to be, I'm not going to click on this link because they are too smart for that.
It's good and bad. But with that, we will conclude, and I think Christina is going to help us go through some questions.
Yes, I am back, and we got a few questions in. Before we jump into that, there are a mixture, just by the way, of CareerArc clients and people who are not CareerArc clients and want to just learn more about how to do social recruiting and all that type of fun stuff. So the questions will vary a little bit, but number one, for customers, Stacy is actually going to do a follow-up session in 2 weeks, walking through how to actually do this within the system. So you'll get a link to register for that when we send out the recording. So that will be available. And then of course, if you have a CSM and you prefer one-on-one and you want to walk through it with them, feel free to do that. Anybody who's not a CareerArc client that just wants to learn more, feel free to respond to that email, click through to our website, explore what we do. Totally not mandatory. We're just here to share great insights and help people start their social recruiting journeys. So with that, I will jump in to our first question here. Let's see. This looks like a client question, actually. Do you have a webinar training on your free image editing and CareerArc? I'm assuming the Content Studio. And I know we don't have any webinars planned yet for that, so I can confirm that. But Stacy, I don't know if you have anything else you can add there.
Yeah, there's nothing else that's planned at this point. But if you are a client of ours, you can always chat with your CSM and kind of get a working session on how to utilize our Content Studio. It's pretty simple, but there are some finicky pieces. So we're happy to walk you through that.
Awesome. Another question that came in: how many job-specific posts do you recommend get posted to a site like LinkedIn each day? And I'm just going to throw in a quick caveat. I'm going to say per profile, right? Because when you have a brand ambassador program, the thought is to have multiple people posting. So this is a per profile. Let's go with for this answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So per profile on LinkedIn, I don't ever recommend posting more than one time a day. So if you are a recruiter, I'd love to see you post 1 to 2 to 3 times a week. If you have a lot of open recs, really want to get a lot of jobs out there, sure, you can post once a day every day, but by no means should you be posting more than once a day with the job content. We could get into the weeds later on. If you want to sprinkle in employer brand content, maybe you have a job post in the morning, some sort of employer brand in the afternoon. I think that's appropriate. But low frequency on LinkedIn. If you want to post a lot more, that's Instagram, that's Twitter, but LinkedIn's not the place. You'll see things in your feed from last week. So keep that in mind. You really don't want to spam your network, because then you're going to probably have your impressions go down. You're going to get content fatigue, if you will. So great question, per profile, low frequency on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Another one about posting. And it looks like a question for within our system. Can you schedule the post to go out on a specific date and time, and to end on a specific date and time?
Absolutely. So we've got different settings, I guess, within the platform to be able to, if you have just one post that's scheduled to go out, we can set that up to go out on a specific date and time. And then we do have end dates within our campaigns as well. So let's say you have content that you only want posted for the month of June, we can set up an end date so that that stops posting specifically on the 30th and nothing goes out thereafter. So lots of options for kind of how we can customize the dates and times of those posts.
Yeah, and kind of a related question too here. What happens if you post a job and then it closes and is no longer active?
Yeah, so if your post is already on LinkedIn and I find it next week, for example, and you've already closed it, when I click on it, let's pretend I'm the candidate, I'm just going to be redirected to your career site to explore your other openings. So if I, as the recruiter now, didn't like that post on my page any longer, I would need to delete it as if I posted it. But we don't ever have any complaints with that, because it just goes to your career site. So it works out pretty well. Great question.
Great. And then there's another question in here just about uploading videos to CareerArc, if anybody could speak to the kind of how-to.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the same as if you're looking to upload those video files within the platform. It's basically the same way as you would upload an image. You just kind of click to add media, choose your file. It should say there should be some messaging within that file uploader to say how big the files can be, you know, things like that, just to let you know. But other than that, it's really as simple as uploading your regular imagery, and then you can tag it pretty much in the same way, and it'll just rotate in with those images as well.
I will add one tiny thing to that. I have found that the most successful videos for LinkedIn need to be less than 200 megabytes. So keep that in mind too, if you're using our tool.
That is a great tip. Looks like last question here, unless more come in, we're happy to answer, but this is the last one I have. Would we be able to get reports on each post's results to share with our executives?
So we don't have specific metrics per post, but you should be able to see some of that stuff through your own backend with those social dashboards. They should kind of help you break down those each individual posts. With our reporting right now, it does kind of go over the overview of all posts. We can split that out between your job content and your employer brand content just to kind of let you know the differences there. But it really doesn't dial into the per post metrics. It kind of gets a little bit more of an overview there. And then, like I said, you can use the social reporting to kind of go into more in-depth pieces of those posts.
Yeah, so think of it more as per person. So Stacy had 50 job clicks in May. I had 20 job clicks in May. Callum had 15. Christina had 30. So how much traffic are we driving all together each month? That's really the value we're providing with automating these campaigns.
Awesome. Yeah. And I even think sometimes it's better. I'm obviously in marketing. So even with marketing social, it's better to look kind of holistically than try to drill down to the exact post, because sometimes it's a holiday. Sometimes there's an event going on. It's vacation. It's a popular vacation week. So definitely look for trends versus individual posts, or else you'll just drive yourself into kind of an analysis paralysis there. It looks like that is the last question. So we'll wrap this up for today.